Hello and welcome to today's episode of Short Rounds Roundtable. I'm your host, Short Round. Today, I have a very special episode in store for you. Today, I am not talking about the American Civil War. Today, I am going to be showing y'all relics from the Second World War that were sent to me by Legenda Militaria Archaeology. Now, they are a Latvian-based organization, and what they do is they go around to all the little battlefields. I say little, but there were ample big battlefields in Latvia as well. But they go to all these different battlefields, and they look for soldiers in unmarked graves, whether it be in trenches, bunkers, bottom of shell craters, wherever. And they find these men, and they reinter the bodies out of an unmarked grave into at least a marked grave. Most of the time they're designated as unknown because you're not always going to, especially this long after the Second World War, you're not going to get the names of all those men that are buried there. A lot of them didn't have any identifying factors, dog tags, bracelets, anything like that. They would say their name, where they're from, next of kin. So a lot of these men ended up being in unmarked graves, but in their pursuit to find all these men in unmarked graves and give them a proper burial, they come across relics from the Second World War. Some personal, some just chunks of metal, but every relic found tells a story. And Legenda and me have worked out a little bit of a contribution to my military museum. For those of you who don't know, and I haven't told yet, when I moved, I started Short Rounds Shiloh Tours. And with Short Rounds Shiloh Tours and giving a tour of Shiloh National Military Park, I also am going to have a military museum attached to the tours and the guide service. The tours are free, museum is free, all of it's free right now. So if you want to come see it, if you want to take a tour, come see the relics in the museum, what have you, you can email me at shortroundshilohtour@yahoo.com, or you can find me on my Facebook group, Short Rounds Roundtable, TikTok Short Rounds Roundtable 2, and of course here on YouTube at Short Rounds Roundtable, the home in the beginning to all of my social media and all of my adventures in this has been YouTube. And I'm so sorry I've not made as many YouTube videos as I want to make. I have a million I want to do, but until I could get settled, I couldn't really do them. But now that I'm settled, buckle up and get ready for a whole lot of videos coming your way. Whole lot of education from perspectives you've not heard it from yet. But until then, here we go. I'm going to showcase some relics that were sent to me from the Eastern Front, Latvia. So our first relic is a German canteen hanger, water bottle hanger. Clip, as you can see, where it just hung off the side there. But one thing I really love about this specific piece is it has the leather from the straps still attached, still intact, and on the buckle. For the metal to sit in the ground for roughly 80 years is one thing, but for that leather to still be there, still be intact and in the hook, through the loops, that's just awesome history right there. Absolutely awesome. And while we're talking about canteen hangers and hydration, what better time to show you than this canteen cup. This is a German canteen cup, and the way it would have worked was that it would have sat, if my hand is the canteen, it would have sat over the top, and then the strap would have gone through that top loop right there. And this one is dated, and I don't know if you can see it or not, or how well you might be able to see it, but right there, that says 1943 on it. So this is a canteen cup made in 1943, issued probably same year in 1944, give or take. Either way, that wasn't a fun time for a German soldier to have been on the Eastern Front, but yet this cup was dug out of Latvia on the Eastern Front, issued to a German soldier. And if you know me and know my channel and know anything about what I stand for, personal items are what tell stories, because the individual story is the one I'm trying to tell. The individual soldier is the man I'm trying to honor. And it doesn't get very much more personal than a Canteen Cup from a soldier. This is one of my favorites in the whole collection, just because you can see the battle damage on it. Actually, it was labeled as a battle damaged lid, Soviet battle damaged lid, but just look at the bullet holes piercing through that. It's if I had to bet, this is some kind of munitions canister lid, probably like a rocket lid or something of the sort. So it would have been, I'm assuming, I don't know for sure, but based on all the holes in this was either laid in front of a trench possibly, or it was on somebody's hip when they got peppered by a machine gun, because that is a tight grouping of very similar sized rounds. So I would assume somebody was near this when they got peppered, and that's pitiful. It war as hell. But look at the damage on that. This thing could tell stories. Just being a little Soviet lid to a tin, and look at the stories it could tell. So this was a medicine vial, and I have no idea what that says. Been trying to get it on a good camera angle for 2 days now, and I can't. But it was a medicine vial, according to those who sent this to me, and it's almost pristine, almost, except for that little nick right there in the lid. But past that, I mean, it is absolutely in fantastic shape and condition. And it's one of those things that you're gonna hear me say the word personal a lot, but that's the mission of this channel, and the goal of what I'm doing is personal. And a medicine vial, it might have just been something that somebody, poured in their coffee and it made a stomach ache go away, for all I know. But that was one interaction that a German soldier had with this vial that affected him one way or another during the war. Because if you got a stomach ache, I mean, you can still fight, but it's a pain to do so, You're not at your peak performance in your top game. But that helps tell a story like that. And I have every intention of getting everything translated that I can, and that way I can go further in depth and tell you exactly what these are and what the purpose of them were and all. But till then, we can just appreciate the fantastic condition of something that was in a bunker, in the ground, in a trench, in a tree line for 80 years, roughly. So this one is really one of my favorites in the entire collection. It's absolutely pristine, to say the very least. I mean, look at that. Look at the quality of that tube, right? It is completely intact, completely sealed. Lid is still perfect, right? And if you squeeze it, not that I recommend doing so, but if you squeeze it just a little, it has give to it still, which tells me that the cream inside has not solidified. So this is still absolutely, I mean, it's probably not usable anymore, but it is as pristine as you can get for a relic, even if it's not, a metal relic. It is just pristine condition, minus just a few little pieces of dirt. And you don't see that very often, especially for something that sat in the ground for so long. But every bit of this thing is just, it's awesome, to say the least. This is another item that is in just stellar, absolute pristine condition, considering it came out of the ground. It might have come out of a kit, actually. It's in such good condition. I've really not wanted to take it out of the paper or out of the bag, to be honest. But these are gas mask lenses. German gas mask lenses. Look, you can actually see the gas mask lens in there still. and it's in phenomenal condition. Look at the writing on the back of this. Absolutely phenomenal condition all the way around. You just can't beat that. And it's a gas mask lens. That was an everyday part of a soldier's life. Whether or not they utilized a gas mask, they had to ensure that their gas mask was clean, the filters were good, the lenses were good. This is replacement parts for somebody's gas mask, but just look at the condition of it. That is awesome. Somebody, whether it was a logistics troop or a troop on the front line, which, I mean, it came from the front line, so it might have not been used, but it was definitely issued to a front line troop. And it's just, I can't get over how good a condition it is. But this is just history right there. You're looking at it. Might be a small piece, but it's still very important history, and there's a story to be told from this. So the next two items I have here are a 2-for-1. Since they're the same type of relic, I'm just going to showcase them together here. But they're both German shrapnel pieces. And you say, Short Round, how do you know those chunks of metal are German and not Russian? Well, if you look, you can see right there, not too well, I guess. Well, the camera picked it up some. But that's German writing on these shell fragments. It's not Russian by any means. But these two right here, I mean, could you imagine? It's almost as big as the palm of my hand. And if you know me personally, you know I don't have that big of hands, but to get hit with that solid chunk would just be devastating. Absolutely devastating. And that's what a lot of artillery, especially German artillery during the Second World War was devastating. So right here is a Soviet button. Now, being a Civil War relic collector, buttons are a big deal. I'm standing less than 2 foot away from several federal buttons from the war dug near Corinth. But this was a button, Soviet button dug near Latvia, near, I want to say Riga. But look at that. You can still see the hammer and sickle. It's a terrible emblem. Communism's god-awful, and I'm no stranger to saying that. Y'all know my stance on communism. But that doesn't change the fact that this is a historical relic that saw just god-awful atrocities on the Eastern Front. The back isn't in the best condition. It's a split button, and you can see that it's doesn't have its shank or anything left to it like that. But just having the front, just having the star and the hammer and the sickle in such great condition makes it a wonderful addition to this museum, and being able to tell the story of the Second World War, Eastern Front, Latvia. So up next we have my old lady's favorite part of this entire collection that was sent in. But this is a Soviet spoon, and you can tell, I mean, it's got a big ladle part to it. It is probably about, an inch deep almost, if that, and just as big as the palm of my hand. I mean, that was made for some real Russian borscht. But this is, when you talk about personal, I know today in the military we get MREs and they come with utensils and all of that, but this right here it's probably not an issued spoon. Somebody probably either commandeered this or brought it from home, but it was found in Russian lines, and this was life for some people. You know, for a lot of people on the front lines, this is more than just a spoon. I mean, you can use this to break up the ice in your cup, to shave with. It feeds you. You cook with it. Like, it is a very personal daily item. And a lot of people don't realize when it comes to relics that this is a big part of it, is the personal side, the little things that, I mean, that's just I won't say poorly made. I don't want to insult who made it, even though they've been dead for probably 80 years or longer. But it's just a very basic spoon. That's all it is just pressed metal. And but it was somebody's every day. This was a part of their kit. This is a part of their daily routine during that war. That spoon. So up next here we have a German Wounded Badge. This would be equivalent to our Purple Heart in the United States military. You shed blood for your country, you're awarded one. It's not entirely the easiest thing in the world to see, but you can see the Stahlhelm in the center. You can see the crossed swords, the hilts of them, and the tips there. And one other thing you can see that designates this is a Second World War wound badge versus a First World War is it's very faint and hard to see in there, but there's a swastika in the center of the Stahlhelm in the middle of the helmet there. That was the only, to the best of my knowledge, designator between the two from the First World War and the Second World War. The telltale was the swastika. Now, that's something I've learned in Facebook groups, and you can only trust Facebook groups as far as you can throw them, but and also look at the back here, the shank. You can see where the pin was, and the pin has since long been broken, but you can see the shanks there for them. It's just an awesome piece of history. And you want to talk about personal, and I know I'm saying the word personal. You can make a drinking game out of how much I'm saying personal, but this is somebody's wound badge. This was a German soldier. He was awarded this for shedding blood for Germany. Just as we give out the Purple Heart, they gave this out. In fact, I think they still give a very similar wound badge today. But either way, that one is from a German soldier from Latvia, who I don't know if he lived, died, made it. No idea whose it was. I wish their name was inscribed on the back, but it's not. But it's still a really cool piece of personal history that I get to show you guys and add into my collection here at Short Round Shiloh Tours and Military Museum. Next is another personal item, and this is a tin cup. Now, I don't know if this was issued or not, but it is a Russian tin cup, and you can actually even see on the bottom here, I don't know how well you can see it, but there is some writing there, and I have no idea. I don't even know which way is writing up on that, but it's Russian. And like I said, this could have been a personal bring item from somebody's home, or this could have been issued. I'm not entirely sure. It is that dull army green, and I know the Russians had that same green we did, or a real similar one. Everything they did was olive drab green, just about. But this is a really cool, this was how somebody kept their hands warm with coffee. They would use it to eat, brush their teeth, shave, anything. This was more than just a cup. This was somebody's everyday. So what we have here might look like just a rusted piece of disc, but in fact, this is a piece of one of the most iconic firearms used by the Russian military in the Second World War. The PPSH-41 was the most produced submachine gun in the Soviet Union, and this is the front of the drum mag for one of them. You can actually see here where rounds would be. This was part of where it would connect into the firearm, and this is where rounds would be sent up into the chamber of the gun. See the front end here a little bit better. Still got grass from where it was in Latvia. Isn't that cool? But just another fantastic piece here at the Short Round Shiloh Tour and Military Museum. So this is the last item I have to show you today. This is, for me, a very big deal. I have geeked out over this particular firearm for a long time. It is one of the most famous weapons of the Second World War, and this is just a piece of it, but it was a very important piece of it. This is an MG42's belt. This right here is what aided in the MG42 getting the nickname of Hitler's buzzsaw. This aided in such a rapid amount of fire. I mean, this thing could sling lead like nothing else in the Second World War. And here I have just a piece of that history to show to you here at Short Rounds, Shiloh Tours, and Military Museum. If you would like to come and see any of this in person, you can email me at shortroundshilohtours@yahoo.com. Message me on Facebook at Short Rounds Roundtable. Find me on TikTok, Short Rounds Roundtable 2, or you can message me or comment here in the comment section below on YouTube. But thank you all so much for the support. Thank you all, Legenda Militaria, again for your wonderful contribution to the Military Museum here. And thank you all to all my loyal fans and followers for helping keep history alive. Thank you. God bless Dixie, and God bless Latvia. A very special thank you goes to Legenda Military Archaeology for your contributions to the Short Round Shiloh Tour and Military Museum.